How many gym girls does it take to make a pyramid?
Impressive, but does it point perfectly to the star system Orion 12,000 years ago? Always start with an astrology joke. Doesn't count, she touched it. I'm not sure this is how calorie balance works. Come on, use some common sense. Use a straw. In this week's Jump Across the Drain with your phone hanging out your pocket, what could go wrong? Oh, it's fine, it was an iPhone, it was useless. Introducing kettleballs. Is that an effective core exercise? I mean, how do you even load the kettlebell onto the end of the bar? When phone boxes become obsolete, how's Superman going to get changed? I've got so many questions. Simon Miller released a video called YouTube Did Me Dirty Again. The advert that played before it was for cleaning product Dettol. When the universal comes together.
It's nothing to do with the views on the live stream.
I wish him well though. Niceties over with. Talking of dirt, Bradley Martin got a dirt bike. And bench pressed it, obviously. The Paris 2024 Olympics have announced 4 new Olympic sports. Breaking, bad, hopefully. Sport climbing, skateboarding and surfing. I can't believe Toss the Fake Natty didn't make it.
Cheers.
All 4 are easy to take up and participants form communities that are very active on social media. Point made, thank you. In this week's fitness news, Jeff Side has gone back to brown hair. Is that where we are now? Influencer day job, need some content. Got brown hair, published, that's lunch. That's his job, to be clear. In this week's Sesame Street, Brad Castleberry with the Flop Set.
No way!
Those powerful car phrases.
That's insane!
So unbelievably poorly executed that he repeated the process 3 times, or what I call Big Mama's House 1, 2 and 3. Less drop set, more drop out.
If you ain't at the gym, then where the f*** you at?
I'm at home taking my completely necessary thermogenic supplement before I go to the gym and exercise, which increases my body temperature anyway. I guarantee you have never sweat as much as you will using Eno Subs Volcan. I guarantee you will when I explain to your fans how you're selling them unicorns.
What's good, guys? I want to give you some free game on why I take Volcan 2000.
Lifetime natural, 8 million followers influencing legend Simon Panda. Is demanding some respect on his name. Here's some.
On why I take Volcan 2000 before my workouts, especially when I'm doing cardio. 1 is packed with L-carnitine, an amino acid that burns body fat, which can be used for energy.
No, it doesn't. I have a much older video breaking down research on acetyl L-carnitine and fat loss and explaining how the main piece of research used by supplement sellers, well, basically didn't measure fat loss.
This study did not measure lipid oxidation, which you would think would be quite important for these people giving you this clear causation.
What he said, that handsome. And so carnitine is involved in the fat loss process when we think about lipolysis and beta oxidation.
These fatty acids are transported through the blood into the target cell to be burnt up. And within the target cell, they have to move from the cytoplasm of the cell to the mitochondria. And the way that the fatty acids are transported from the cytoplasm to the mitochondria is with the help of carnitine. And so this is where carnitine fits into the fat loss process as a transporter of the fatty acids into that fire. You can kind of think of it as a shovel throwing those fatty acids into the fire to be burnt up.
What he said, I miss the days when I had a microphone that sounded like I was underwater. But supplementing with additional carnitine on top is not strongly evidence-based for increasing fat loss. Yet Lifetime natties with their shirts off keep selling us products and telling us it is for some reason. Cha-ching.
2, because Volcan has GBEEC, super carnitine.
Okay, which boosts carnitine levels by hundreds of percent or whatever, it doesn't matter. That is not how supplementation works. Just piling more and more of an ingredient into your body doesn't mean that somehow you're going to get more and more of a benefit. It is not a linear relationship with supplement intake and physiology for all sorts of different reasons. For example, bioavailability is one. The only super thing about it are the commissions to pay off the Lambo. And no, I'm not just being jealous. I've got a Vauxhall Mocha, boot space mate, who's a real winner. There are literally no checks or balances whatsoever to what fitness influencers can say to sell stuff. And in this week's People Can't Play Nicely Together,
this girl gets into a full-blown argument at the gym, and this guy refuses to move out of the way.
Excuse me, sorry. Could you please ask for just 5 minutes? I just need to record. Can you just pause this for 5 minutes? I just need to record a little video, and then literally I'll be done in like 5 minutes. Yeah.
Come back today.
Yeah. No, it's just I'm recording a progress video. I'm doing it every week. So I'm
Right.
oxygen and then.
Because the thing is, I kind of want it now, and the fact is, you know, you don't own the gym, so.
I know I don't own a gym. I'm not saying that. I was just asking people polite and leave it just about 2 minutes.
Can't you just do that later?
Looks as if first. If we're gonna get like that, I was in first.
and so she was extremely polite and he was a bit confrontational, but he's also right in that you can't tell people to stop exercising because you want to film yourself. Elite powerlifter Stefi Cohen has transitioned to a new sport of boxing. That is what I imagine a face would look like when a world record powerlifter hits you. And so her record is 3 wins, 1 loss and 1 draw. I was 145 pounds at the peak of my powerlifting career, currently weighing 122 and on my way to dropping down to 115. It's hard to part ways with a physique that took me a decade to build, but at the same time I understand it no longer serves me. And so you can see how she's changed her physique to match the requirements of her new sport. And as she states, she's pretty much 30 pounds lighter now as a fighter than in her powerlifting peak. That is quite the change. A few comments. Let's go. Shredded, looking great. Thank you very much. I got a new shampoo. Guessing they don't drugs test. And here are some of her training methods now, still focusing on power, working the stretch shortening cycle with horizontal jumps there, and an example of a conditioning circuit that she goes through. The lower body and power speed development sessions are pretty interesting, using resistance bands. Her page is full of clips like this and this, but it's actually this post I wanted to highlight.
You know that you should eat after you train to mitigate the muscle breakdown that happened during the training session. But really more important than that window of time after you're done training is what you do in the 23 hours that are left of the day. If you are, like I said, consistently feeding your body protein throughout the day, every 3-4 hours, and at the adequate amounts as well, that has a much more profound effect than the one meal that you have after you train.
And so that is excellent information, and I have videos on the protein hierarchy where I explain, using an evidence base, that the cumulative amount of protein you intake over a day is more important than timing. In terms of eating a meal every 3 to 4 hours, you don't necessarily have to do that, but it's not incorrect to communicate that, because it's the idea of having a regular intake of amino acids to create this anabolic environment for protein synthesis. But most importantly, don't worry about running to the changing rooms to chug a protein shake after a session. Of course, you can eat post-workout if you want. If you have intaken protein pre-workout, it diminishes the need of post-workout protein. But most importantly, for muscle growth, calculate how much protein you need to intake over a day. And I presented this evidence-based range here from this meta-analysis, which gives you a good idea. And it's important to project this as a range, not one set in stone number for everyone.
There is a factor to consider there, the point of diminishing returns. But you have to be mindful that just taking in more and more protein does not necessarily that you're going to have the potential to build more and more muscle mass.
And so take that range, calculate how much protein you need to intake a day, and then create an eating plan that fits your needs.
Most important part of that misconception of the anabolic window is don't be hyper focused on that one meal. Instead, focus on what you're eating throughout the entire day.
See you soon.